Quackcast. Never done that before. I love that dance, Tance.
Yeah. There was no dance. You imagined it.
The tense tissue.
That's what I was thinking. Hello and welcome to the Quackcast. This is the Drunkduck Quackcast, and this is Quackcast number 616. We have Tance, Baines, and special guest Pitface.
Hello, it's a blast from the past.
Yay!
2022.
Hello.
A blast from the past. I like that. So we are going to talk about the new year and stuff that happened in 2022. I think that's appropriate because this is the first Quackcast of 2023. It's 2023 here right now where I am, not where you guys are, because the Earth hasn't turned around far enough for you yet. It will, don't worry.
You don't get
Happy
2022 until the rest of us do. So you're detained back in 2022 until further notice.
You guys just hold me back in the past.
We're holding you back. That's what we have always been doing.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah, it's not the other way around. Totally. So yeah, we're going to talk about stuff from 2022. But before we get into that, I've got to bring up the featured comic. The last featured comic of 2022 was something that Quackcast brought up, and it's called Withdrawn. So I hope you enjoy listening to Quai talk about Withdrawn.
Hello, this is Quackcast, and the feature I've selected for this week is Withdrawn by Cascade, and it is rated M for mature. Dominic is a slovenly bachelor from a Sicilian-American household in New Jersey, and he still lives under the same roof as his domineering mother and pet pooch, Lily. Down the road, Catherine, reeling from her latest unlucky relationship prospect, rides along her already in a stable relationship sister, Ashley. This small-town, unlikely romance story begins on a quiet sidewalk in the Garden State, where a grown man, ordered to do chores by his mother, is about to intersect with two sisters driving recklessly behind the wheel of a car. The comical expressions of the characters and impressive backgrounds exemplify the drawn comic medium. The comic story is presented in full-length, colored pages. Find out the importance of picking up litter and read Withdrawn by Cascade, rated M.
And that was Quackcast with her featured comic Withdrawn. And next up we have the featured music that Gummels has given us, and he's given us a theme to a comic called Shortchanged. So, and his feature, I would describe it as snappy, happy beat with a joyful, repeating piano tune. This is such a simple piece, but is so nice and happy and friendly. This makes a lovely new start to the new year. So take it away, Gummels, with the theme to Shortchanged. And that was Gunwallace's theme to Shortchanged, which is a comic by Kidamat, rated T for teen. We're finally into the cast proper. We can chat about the stuff that's happened in 2022. So what are people's news? So with the comics first. I think everyone's got a bit of comic news for this year. except me.
Why don't you go first? Damn it, Az!
Well, all I've done is I managed to do some more pages of Pinky TA and some more pages of Bottomless Waitress. More pages of Bottomless Waitress than Pinky TA. So there we go. That's
Yay.
all I've done.
Continuing. Well, I started a couple new comics, as you reminded me of on Patreon. You guys, thank you. That was all in 2022, expanding to other series and kind of jumping in, even if only having a partial plan, jumping into some new series, and that's been fun, and like starting a Patreon and what other comic news? Yeah, lots on that end, really. I mean, they sort of you hit roadblocks once in a while, especially if you're planning less. I have one typical strange issue, which is they are the length of a regular comic book. That now it's been an entire year of this newest one, so I've done about 2 pages a month, I guess, for the year. But I'm almost finished that story, so I'm happy about that. These new series are exciting, and even with a little bit of a hold up lately as I figure out what's next. Still a lot of fun, going well. Excited.
Well, you've got 3 comics to work on, so it means that you're never your artist block is never going to be too much of a problem, is it? Because you've always got something else to sort of slip into.
You'd think, but you'd be surprised how tempted I am to be like, oh, if I start comic number 4, 5, and 6, I could just keep starting new ones.
Start a new one each year.
Exactly. get like 12 pages in and then just be like, oh boy, I'm gonna try a new series.
Can I say though, I really like your kaiju one so far. It's just really cute. It just hits in a really neat little way. I
Yeah.
like it.
Thank you. I'm so happy.
I second that.
There's a lot of scope for jokes in that one, Baines. It's great. I just keep thinking, every time I look at a page, I think, wow, okay, you go this way, you go that way, you go this way, you go that way. It's so good. It just...
Yeah.
It's so your humor too. Like, they're about to meet the parents, I think, right? And I'm just excited, looking forward to reading how that goes, because you're writing it, and I know it's gonna just have your dad humor all over it. So.
Comic, for people who don't know, it's a 3D comic of a giant woman who is in a relationship with a very small man. Well, a normal sized man. He's a
regular sized man. Yeah.
Regular size.
But his penis is extra tiny, so that's a twist. No, there are no penises.
He's a micro boy.
Micro boy. Yes, the original title was Regular Size Man, but I thought no.
It was fun placing them in the Drunkduck Awards.
Yes. I haven't mentioned it in a while, so I have to say again, that's the whole reason that comic exists, is because of Tenz's Drunkduck Awards pictures. I was like, I want a comic where I have a character, one's normal size, and one is like you can only see her legs.
Or a foot,
so
yeah.
Huge. So, yeah, after previous Drunkduck Awards, I was like, I got to get this comic started for the next ED Awards. So I did. Got it in the poster. So yeah.
You did well.
Yeah.
And
it was really fun. I liked it. I generally like I know grammar. I generally like how certain characters from different comics are completely unique, and I need to place them in this group photo, and everyone needs to have at least a little bit of real estate in this wallpaper. And yeah, that was fun.
We had the Drunkduck Awards. Jesus, we're talking around that, but we hadn't had that for a while, had we? This was the first time in ages.
First time, I think, in 2 years that we had it.
Yeah, we missed a year, so it was nice.
Yeah, COVID stopped our characters interacting. They weren't allowed to because they could have caught, the virus. So, sorry, guys. It was for their own safety. So
exactly.
This happened.
So now it happened again, and we had Drunkduck Awards this year, which was awesome. A lot of people participated, and that was again very, very good. And I don't know, I may be wrong because I have had some pain already. So I think we also had this year, we had the anthology, or was it last year? Like early this year. I think the anthology dropped.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was late 2021.
I thought it was last year. Yeah, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I don't have any reference for time.
I don't either.
It all blends in. The last 3 years have sort of just been the same year.
Yeah.
Big pile of goo.
Over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we did have the anthology. The anthology helped pay for the redesign stuff that's going on with the Drunkduck, and that's just happened this year. So we finally were able to use M's new cover page, which totally changed in the process of coming up because, I don't know, for some reason, she just decided she wanted to do something else. So it's now looking different again, and it's cool and clean and
awesome.
Simplistic. And not simplistic, minimal, I suppose that's a better way of saying
it. Abstracted. Let's say abstracted.
Abstract? Yeah.
No.
Minimal, clean.
No, minimal. Zen.
Well, no, minimalist applies to art as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the new thing, and Alexei is working on. Oh God! Speaking of Alexei, of course we had the terrible Ukraine-Russian kind of situation happening, which is not a good thing. We have members who are from Russia and also Ukraine, and we don't hold anything like they're all our people. We don't care where people come from, basically. They're all equal. So despite of what's happening in the world, it doesn't impact how we feel about our members on our side.
As long as you're not a douchebag.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But that is on the douchebag though. I mean, if you are a douchebag, you get defenestrated. So. Yeah.
Okay, 2023, I learned a new word. I'll look that one up.
It's a good word.
I love it. It's a good word.
2023, the year of defenestration.
Yes, we love it.
It's a funny word. It's Latin.
I hate cutting trees down, but I'm still okay with new words.
It's a Latin word, but Germans use it. I mean, like Fenester for window. Yeah, it's weird. It's a strange word. Baines and I, we finished Pinky Tia. Not Pinky Tia. We finished Bottom's Waitress, the first chapter. So that was one thing. I forgot about that. We're into the second chapter. Yeah.
8 years in the making. What has it been? I don't know.
Slowly.
Wonderful. Flew by, actually.
Zoom. Yeah, the time didn't exist. Yeah, and we moved into heavy drama and relationship issues. Total drama. Total drama, Bottomless Waitress. It's just awesome.
Bottomless drama.
And I'm scooting slowly to the last pages of Pinky TA chapter 8, which that's going to be up on the last 2 pages, I think. So, whoa, I'm almost done. Chance, you're on the last few pages of Without Moonlight.
Yeah.
Been a long time in the making.
Man,
I mean,
years.
Since I think 2011 or 2010 even. It's finally happened. Yeah.
I think 2010, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
2010, I think was the.
I remember School Monkey was sort of talking about featuring this strange comic with kids in barrels, and I thought, oh, this weird. What's Tanserine doing now?
Kids in barrels.
Tanserine was doing this comic about wolf and viruses and stuff, and I was enjoying reading it, and that was fun and weird. And what's this thing? This bizarre little orphans in World War II.
Nazis everywhere.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
that was such a departure.
Yeah. Why is this so depressing?
It was very well done. It was incredibly well done and very impactful just from the get-go.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but so much of a departure. It was weird, and the art style.
Honestly, I had never planned to do such a thing. No, like never. I wanted to do a light-hearted adventure comic thing, and I ended up with this because life happened, and I wanted to rant in my art, and this was the result. So anyway, so now it is almost done. The first arc is done. That's what is done. Like nothing else is done.
Chapter 1.
Yeah, chapter 1 is done. Yay!
And so Pip, you were telling us about the inhabitants. Now this was a long time in the planning, and you got all sorts of things were coming together that were new and interesting. You know, you had been on Patreon for a while with your future guy working on that, and suddenly you shifted over to doing the inhabitants, which you had been thinking about for so long and planning with Helmut. You had it in your head, your mind's eye, thinking and planning and feeling that out, hadn't you? All these different influences sort of coalescing into this supernatural comic.
And then I took it out back and I shot it like old Yeller. No, it's still a thing. I'm very excited for it. I think it's so for anybody who doesn't know, I've stopped it. The prequel that I have up is still going to be canon, like his childhood. That's still going to be up. But as I was making the first part, you know, with him being brought on and everything, and I realized I wasn't writing it in a way that I wanted to. For one, I'm gonna monetize it in a different way, which doesn't really affect how I've started over now. But I kind of took that opportunity to really think about how I had been writing it and realized that I was on the verge for a while of just scrapping that whole first chapter after he comes back, because I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants with that, and I was kind of going, as it goes along, I'll just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And it's kind of helped me to realize what I didn't want to do. I wanted it to start off, at least for the first few issues, to not be so centered around Helmut. It's going to center around different characters, some of the inhabitants of the apartments, and different possessions that kind of happen and them having to deal with it. And then at some point in the story, Helmut crashes in and takes care of things more or less. And so I kind of, and after the first few issues, things will kind of evolve from there. But I wanted it not to be so much like, and this is how he got brought on, and this is how he turned into a thing, because there are all sorts of questions I was starting to ask myself that I was stressing about not answering.
Okay.
When in the end, I kind of realized that there are things that don't need to be answered anyways. So I'm just totally starting it from a different perspective, and it feels really good. I'm scripting it out. I'm coming up with all these concepts and stuff, and taking it more from the perspective of like different short little horror stories that I want to do, because I had a lot of fun with that short one in the Drunkduck anthology. So I'm going to approach it more like that.
Nice.
Interesting.
That's the thought anyway. So we'll see if 2024 rolls around and I haven't completely changed my idea, but I reserve the right to do that.
Moving on to new and better, bigger things.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sorry, Baines, what were you saying? I cut you off.
It's something I like about like following webcomickers and like friends and webcomic makers. You can see this development process, even if it ends up going away. It's kind of a cool insight, and you can see the world taking shape. And like even if you do start over, it's worthwhile to see the journey. Look at your art, which is always awesome, and
see the progress in the process.
Yeah,
it's great.
It kind of reminds you, I think, that we're all still people behind it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like behind comics, it's all just a bunch of people making shit. So process sometimes is a little bit messier than the final product might lead you to believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh my God, yes.
And not in the world of print or permanent stuff. So you're going to get that upside. You can fix it and make it how you want it.
It's the nature of comics. The nature of web comics that it's in flux all the time. We're allowed to do that. You don't have to stick with something. You can improve it, change it. We could even change stuff that's already been uploaded and go back and completely change that and redo it. George Lucas style.
Do it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, but I'm not going to get into that headspace, or I will never move forward ever.
There's a danger, there is a danger to that.
Well, I've come to believe that all my characters should have had, all these years, they all should have had mustaches. So
I was just thinking that. Exactly that thought.
Go back and give them all mustaches now.
Yes, add a layer, add a mustache to everyone. So it's going to be a very busy year.
They all have to be different styles of mustaches, too.
Okay. Pencil, handlebar, toothbrush.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No toothbrush. We will tell who is the bad guy immediately.
They're doing Charlie Chaplin. Come on.
It's too on the nose.
It's under the nose, Bane. Under the nose.
I wasn't even supposed to be a joke.
It's amazing how one person can single-handedly kill a style of mustache.
It's amazing.
Like, if you look back at pictures and stuff, like a lot of people had that mustache, and now, like, 50s and onward, nobody.
It's a pretty bad mustache too. I mean,
it's pretty bad.
And also the side, it's a very specific, slightly greasy side part, like no more.
A little emo sweep.
Yeah. I mean, the hipster emo thing. There's a great webcomic called emo, hipster Hitler. It's either emo Hitler or hipster Hitler, and it's great. It's perfect.
I don't know how I feel about this, but there is a lot of fodder there. So
Well, check out emo hipster or emo Hitler emo. I don't know. They're all the same thing. Hitler's emo.
I say people do what they want with it. I'm tired of. I don't know. He's a bastard. He's a piece of shit. But things that throw a surprise Hitler at me out of nowhere makes me laugh in a stupid way. I don't know why. I guess because I'm just not expecting it. Then things go from like 0 to Hitler. It's just
it's
a cheap laugh.
Yeah.
So guys, what about what movies you've seen in 2022?
Oh, I'm really behind on all of that.
Do they have to be movies that came out in 2022, or like movies that we saw in 2022 that we just really like?
Could be that.
Or have something to say. Cool. Because this couldn't be any less 2022, but lately I've really gotten into Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's the I know the one you're
Betty
talking about.
Davis and
Betty Davis,
and Joan Crawford. Yeah, and they play two older women, and Betty Davis grows up as a child star, but is washed up by the time she becomes anything, and like uh, the industry kind of spits her out. And there's this accident that puts her sister in a wheelchair. So years and years go by, and the two are living with each other. And Betty Davis's character, who looks amazing, I guess she came up with the makeup by herself and stuff. Just this over exaggerated vaudevillian makeup, just the white face and the black in the eyes and the overdrawn lipstick. And she looks quite terrifying, especially when her expressions exaggerate and stuff, because that's what vaudevillian makeup does, right? But uh but the way she flips is just it's amazing performance. I mean, drag queens uh do stuff with that all the time from Baby Jane, I guess. So watch it if you ever get a chance. It's a thriller. There is some abuse in it. But oh my god, Betty Davis's performance is amazing.
Yeah, don't use wire coat hangers. Use the wooden ones. Yeah, that's a classic that everyone should see, and I think all of us have seen parodies of it, and not many of us have seen the actual thing. It's like the Rosebud thing. What is that?
Oh,
Citizen
Kane.
Kane, not X. Kane.
Citizen X. All those kind of films you've seen, or the Maltese Falcon.
Yeah.
Like whoever watches it,
fun.
no one.
I remember. I remember actually enjoying the Maltese Falcon, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
I've seen most of these films.
Our version is better.
Yeah. The movie I saw, like the most recent one, because now that I think about it, I really fell off the wagon when it comes to movies. But I did see All is Quiet at the Western Front, like
All Quiet on the Western Front.
Which like I highly recommend as an excellent anti-war movie. Very, very hard, so don't watch it to have fun.
You saw the remake, right?
I saw the remake, but I have also seen not this year, but I have seen the original.
Original, okay.
Yeah. So, and the good thing about it is that seeing one of the two doesn't make seeing the other one like a repeat, because they have taken different takes, and like the material is the same. The way the plot goes, if you like, is in the same direction, but the way that certain things happen and where the focus is more is completely different in the two different films. And so I highly recommend to see both. But they are not pleasant movies, and they are not meant to be pleasant. They are excellent war movies. There is nothing, like everything is super cynical about war, and I absolutely love this. Like just watch the new version, just for the first sequence of how our main character gets his uniform. That's that's textbook anti-war, and I love it, and I highly recommend it. But again, trigger warning in the sense that you have a lot of abuse, there's a lot of killing, there is a lot of senseless killing, and you are not going to be having a fun time, in the sense it's not a feel-good movie. It's
good. There are 3 versions of it. There's a 1930s version, the 70s version. And
I have seen the 70s one. I haven't seen the 30s one.
They're all excellent, apparently.
The only one I'm familiar with is the 30s one, but I haven't seen it. I just watched a thing on it because I'm a giant nerd, but it looks quite amazing and no less anti-war. So
yeah. It's very, very important to all eras because we always have war. It's a terrible specter. It keeps on coming back, and we've got to realize how bad war is for everybody. It's no one has a pleasant time. It's a shit thing.
And the whole glorification of war that unfortunately still happens, like in the sense like I'm gonna go be a hero, defend my country and stuff. It really,
propaganda.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, I was watching. And I won't get into this, but I watched a movie yesterday. Actually, another older one, called Queen Christina, starring Greta Garbo, who's also awesome in that movie. And she does a little bit of gender bending, which looks amazing on her. But she plays Queen Christina, who was an actual figure, who I'm sure they take liberties with in this movie. But she has this part where she kind of, there's all these people just came back from war in her court, and the courtesans and stuff are talking about how they're, they get to make all this money and stuff like that. And she finally turns to the people and says, well, what do you think? You're the ones who actually go out and fight. And, it becomes clear that, they've lost a lot and they're tired, and it affects her, and I'll be a baby and say it actually made me kind of tear up a little bit and cry, because this was made in like the 30s, granted after World War I, but like, how long have we been saying this for? It's so anyway, I don't want to start 2023 on too downer of a note, so I'm going to kind of backpedal out of that a little bit, but there are some great movies worth watching. So
I watched more new movies, although I did actually watch the last Lord of the Ring film yesterday, which I haven't seen. I held off watching the end of the Lord of the Rings because the second one was too silly with the elves and the dwarf stuff, Gimli and Legolas, and counting bodies, and oh my god, it was just so cringe.
Yeah, that was painful.
The last movie still had that, which was painful. And they got a lot of details wrong, and their battles they were shot just in a way that didn't make sense. Like, physically it didn't make sense. But be that all that nerdy shit as it is, they still had the feeling right. So you could still tell a version of a story and get the feeling of it right and the sentiment right without getting the details right. So good points to him for that. And the costumes and swords and outfits and scenery, everything was beautiful. So
a little bit of fantasy to get into.
Yeah, absolutely. The production value of Lord of the Rings is, I think, unparalleled. But I cannot be so forgiving in the sense that I do think that they really screwed over the actual main character, which is Frodo. They completely destroyed that character, and there was no reason to do that. There was really no reason to do that. I'm still bewildered why they took certain artistic choices, but well, whatever.
He was hammering it into the standard hero's journey, so Hollywood.
But still, I mean, you didn't need to nerf the main character just to prop up Aragorn. He has his amazing journey himself. But anyway, that still for me is always going to be something that makes me unable to really watch the trilogy again. But that said, everything else is amazing.
Yeah.
So
the actors and everyone did a great job being part of all the extras and stuff. It was also interesting, speaking of Frodo and All Quiet on the Western Front, because this is a film. This is not a film. This is a story that was written by J.R. Tolkien after his experiences in World War One, and it's not based on World War One in any way. but it is written by someone who experienced the kind of things that are depicted in the story, like desolation, mass death, war, people looking out for each other, friendship in the face of absolute horror. He had physically experienced that, and you can see that in the story. I mean, even in the film, even though it's a nerfed version, that does still come through a little bit, that this was a story written by someone who had experienced this for real.
Yeah, it really does come through. Like, I can understand also Tolkien saying that this was not based on war at all, but I absolutely believe him that he didn't base it on war, on his war experiences, but you can't really isolate that. If you are talking about war, you are going to talk about war the way you have experienced it, if you have experienced it.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel that there are echoes of experiences there.
Yeah. Yeah, like he didn't make it as a 1-to-1, but yeah, you can't help but be touched, especially about something as traumatic as that war.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, and it's good to keep that in mind if you ever reread the story again, or want to kind of experience that kind of thing. And then people have always compared Lord of the Rings to something like Dungeons and Dragons.
No,
and it's not. There's nothing.
No.
These things are not related. Fantasy, sure, but Agatha Christie versus the NYPD Blue.
Michael Crichton. Yeah. The thing is, if you have ever written fantasy, like even dabbled in fantasy a little bit, and in the sense that you create your own world, you will see that your fantasy, you will feel it, and that it is a completely different beast than any other fantasies out there, even if you use the same terminology. Like the fact that something has dragons and trolls and elves and humans and orcs and what have you, doesn't mean that it is working on the same principles like XYZ really well-known thing. Because Tolkien took these entities from mythologies where they already existed, and so does everybody else. So feeling that, okay, it has elves, so it is like a Tolkien offshoot, I find this super unfair to every other fantasy writer, even if they are inspired by Tolkien, if they have even like a slight investment in creating a new world, it will be a new world. That's what I might be rambling, but I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean,
we get you.
Some people are too focused on superficiality. Authors can be as well. Usually it's just people reviewing it. What I saw another film recently that's new. Was it something that actually came out? Oh yeah, Everything, Everywhere, All
at Once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was really good. I love very touching film, very touching.
Yeah. Very creative. I loved I always forget her spoilers. The so-called villain, who's not really a villain so much.
Isn't it Tony
It's her
Lee
daughter.
Curtis? Oh, the daughter. Oh, I don't know the actor.
Yeah, her kind of bad guy persona. I forget the name, but I love her outfits and her outfit changes and stuff.
Yeah.
And they do it so seamlessly. It's constant, but it's just like, it's so cool.
Oh yeah.
After I finished watching that, I just thought, oh my god, wouldn't it be great just to have like a flip book of all her outfits, just a photo book of everything there, because you only see them for 5 seconds most of the time. The longest you see a costume is like maybe 8 seconds. Just they go do. Oh my god, and they're all just incredible. There's so much work would have gone, and she looks amazing in them.
Yeah,
it's
just wow. Fantastic. No, I was just gonna gush about her character a little bit too. Like, I think she's so well written as far as like an entity who has literally seen and known everything that there is and is just kind of overstimulated and done with it, and like these little things that she does to seemingly just kind of keep herself entertained, but it just doesn't really work. That's kind of like what I get from her, but yeah, it's quite a movie, and from start to finish it's like it's almost over stimulating, but it's got good characters that you love to follow, and you want to see what happens, so that helps keep it on track. So,
and it's got a lot of heart too. It's not just a special effects film or an action film. There's a hell of a lot of sentimentality in this film and pathos. So it's very hard hitting in a lot of ways. It's beautiful. It's about
I know what I would be watching when I stop being drunk. So yeah.
I don't know what service it's on at the moment for you. It's on Amazon Prime for me, at least.
Oh,
so it's good.
Okay, I'll find a way, I suppose. So if we're gushing, I mean, it's not a film; it's a series, and it's of course Korean. But I have to gush about it a little bit because I absolutely loved it as a fantasy author. I loved it. I was enthralled because they create this fantasy world. It's called the Alchemy of Souls. So if anyone is into K-dramas and fantasy, definitely check this one out. And the whole point is that you have wizards of various types and things, and you have like 3 or 4 big clans, and each clan is sort of the agent of certain types of magic. So you have one clan that is very much about summoning beasts, and you have another clan that is very much about detecting evil, so on and so forth.
Like so Avatar, but with
it's not like Avatar at all because it's not based on elements, at least not really.
Well, I mean, like a clan who are responsible for different aspects of the magic.
Yeah, okay, in a sense. But the epitome of all this is that, the super accomplished like wizards of this world can perform a certain type of alchemy that is called the alchemy of souls. And what that is that they can basically forcefully extract the soul of a person from their body and take their place. So they can use this body while the other soul goes into their original body. So a swap sort of thing, which allows this person to impersonate anyone they want, even the king and queen and so on and so forth. But the catch in all of this is that if they don't return to their body in time, or if they do it badly, then their body becomes petrified and they die. So, as you can imagine, everyone does it badly. So they try to sustain themselves from getting petrified by basically being vampires, and they draw the energy from other people by killing them. And so you have a combination of fantasy and whodunits and serial killers out there, and you don't know who is what because you cannot always know who has been basically the victim of someone that performed this kind of alchemy on them. And I absolutely love it. It's enthralling. And they are now into season 2. And I haven't started it yet because I have no time. My mom has started it and she's enthralled. And I know that the moment that I start it, I will just become a stranger to the world until I finish it. So yeah, absolutely do that. watch it if you
Nice.
want.
What about you, Baines? What's your movies this year?
Oh, well, man, I'm kind of buzzing still. Like I talked to you guys off the air about Black Christmas from 1974. I just
Yes.
watched it with full attention for the first time last night, and man, I loved it. I was like surprised how good it was. I was surprised how scary it was, how beautiful it was to look at, the acting and writing. Even though it doesn't really explain what's going on at all in the end, it didn't really matter. Very scary and you can see the influence that this movie had on iconic movies that came out after it, like
Yeah.
When a Stranger
Big
Calls
time.
and Halloween and on and on. This movie came out before those.
The first
Yeah.
modern slasher.
Yeah, and the camera work beautiful, like the close-ups, the panning around. I found it so tense and legitimately scary. So I was
Yeah.
all over it, and some famous faces in there when they're younger, which is cool.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah, it's kind of was a forerunner for how terrifying a telephone can be.
oh yeah, those phone calls were so creepy and weird. That kind of makes. I mean, I don't think the killer was supposed to be superhuman, but the impossibility of what was happening on those phone calls.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it didn't really matter because it just was so effective
Mm.
and unsettling.
Yeah.
But I love that. I thought it was a very good year for movies, though. Actually, especially like,
Mm.
I saw some great horror movies. Barbarian, I liked quite a bit.
Yeah. I just watched that
Airbnb
again not
horror.
too long ago.
Yeah, how
Yeah,
was it on
that was
rewatch? I watched it twice, I think. Yeah.
yeah,
Was it-
yeah. I liked it on rewatch. Uh the main character still doesn't make the smartest decisions, but then we wouldn't have a movie if she did. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
it's
not one
very
to be
effective.
appreciated literally, I think.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of it doesn't make literal sense, like what people are
Yeah.
doing and what they find and all that stuff. But
I love the
That's the horror
setting
movie
for
for
it
you.
though. Yeah.
oh, amazing!
I love the basement and just the passages and stuff, and it's the perfect setting for a horror movie. And it actually brought back memory of an old house that I lived in with my mom for like maybe a year or so. Which it shouldn't bring back a memory of anything, but
Yeah,
uh
hope not. Yeah,
I mean it wasn't anything nearly
not that part.
like
Yeah.
that, but there was uh we lived in this house in a town called Johnsburg in Illinois, and like a lot of places around there, like there was where that it used to be used for like the mob or like bootlegging and stuff back in the day. And the
Wow.
basement though was very strange in that like you go down and there's like the main room of it, and there's like a big trough at the side, and then behind the stairs, there's this big hole broken in the wall. And I remember there being an animal cage way back there. And then if you go around, there was like this hallway that went down one side. And it made my hair stand on end in the movie when she found that first room, because there was a room down this hallway that just had like a bed, like a bed skeleton in it, like without the mattress and stuff. Like there was just a bed in there and nothing else, just all concrete.
Oh
And
wow.
then I don't remember what else was down that hallway because I maybe went down there twice when we lived there because I
Yeah.
wasn't having none of that shit.
No,
And then
that's
down
scary.
at the other end, there was a bar, like a full on like bar table. And like I remember it looking really nice. Like if you just like cleaned it up a bit and dusted it and got all the spiders out of there and stuff, it'd probably be pretty cool. But there was just something really off about that basement, and that's what that movie reminded me of, just that
Wow.
uncertainty. So
Yeah.
it
Oh,
hit a bit hard in that regard.
Yes. Were you a kid when you lived in that house, or a teen?
Middle school.
Oh wow. Yeah. So it's extra
Yeah,
terrifying. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine.
I kind of wish though I had the chance to go back down there now, just to kind of see if it was as bad as memory remembers. But anyway,
Yeah.
A strange experience.
Yeah.
Bones, did you see anything not horror?
Oh, well, I should give it one more shout out to the movie called Watcher, which I think is fairly unknown. Not the Netflix series, which is also 2022, but a movie set in Romania, an American couple in Romania where she doesn't speak the language, and she comes to believe someone's following her, stalking her. It's a super slow burn. I thought, especially on first watch, it was just phenomenal, and I've watched it 3 times. It's not as good on rewatch, but it's quite good on Amazon Prime, at least in Canada. Watcher, highly recommended.
Okay.
If you like a slow burn, you got to like a slow burn and kind of a character piece, but it does deliver in the end.
Cool.
Non-horror. I haven't watched it. It was a really good year for horror, actually. Yeah.
Well,
did you see Halloween Ends?
Pardon?
Did you see Halloween Ends?
No, not yet. You?
Oh, yeah.
And I heard it was a little unusual.
It wasn't my favorite, but
no.
Okay, so not worthy of being the final Halloween.
It won't be, of course. Final Jamie Lee Curtis, I'd imagine.
Yeah. But that sort of franchise never really ends, I think.
No.
It just mutates and goes on and on and on, and then reboots. It doesn't even reboot.
Just like
it just
a campfire story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's eternal. I found a lot of slasher movies online that I tried watching, and having loved the genre, the new stuff really doesn't do it for me. I can't even get through them.
Can't get it up.
Yeah, I just can't do it, man. And I was excited to watch Black Christmas and find how much I loved it.
Yeah.
The old school style. Like, I still like the genre, but the new stuff is just not.
Yeah. There is an element in general of genericness. That's not a word, but it feels like something is either too predictable or too uninteresting to even try to think what is going to happen next. At least I have seen some trailers, and that is not really a way to judge a movie, because someone that makes a trailer might make or break a movie. But even the scenes that I see, they are not really, they are not appealing. That's the thing. Anyway, here's for 2023 being better.
Yeah, so you guys, horror and slasher, that's what you're into. Okay. I didn't watch too much of that this year. Really wasn't into it. Well, I got back with my ex again, sort of. So that means watching horror films, because that's her thing.
Right.
And I watched a bit of that. I don't know, there was some funky stuff on Amazon Prime, as there always used to be. They're having more mainstream stuff now, but they always used to have weird stuff. And I remember there was one weird thing about, it was called The Wardrobe. And these people this girl finds a crappy wardrobe just left in a parking lot. And it's, it's a nice big wooden one. And she thinks, oh, wow, I've just got to have this. I've got to have it. And I don't know, we see footage of some guy with black stains on him just going crazy and dying. And we don't know what that has to do with anything. And she takes this wardrobe into her house, and gradually weird things happen, of course. As you'd expect, the door mysteriously opening, black drops of kind of ink just appearing everywhere, and eventually she gets the spots on her skin. And then we see this weird black clad, clad in PVC bondage kind of gear, with the face just totally no face or whatever, just sitting on the wardrobe. And it's just such a bizarre, scary thing. If you were in bed and you look up and there's someone just totally covered in PVC black stuff sitting on your wardrobe, just staring down at you. Oh my god. So yeah, that was really badly filmed. It was good for an amateur horror film.
Yeah,
have you seen it,
YouTube
Baines?
short that
Okay.
was a lot like that. I wonder if it was based on this short.
Probably was, yeah.
Yeah.
It's obviously a very cheaply made thing by...
Okay.
Yeah. The thing with shorts, though, is that when you are doing a short, you don't need really to explain a lot of things. You can just make a feel of something, a situation, have it being impactful and be done with it. But in a movie, you have to have sort of a bigger arc, and that means that you have to fill it with a lot more things, and that may not be as impactful as it was with the short. I think that was the case with It Follows, I think it was, or I remember that there was this one horror that I did watch. I think we might have watched it together, or I watched it on my own.
Yeah, we watched It Follows together. You didn't like it as much as I did, I don't think.
Yeah, it's not that I didn't like it. I liked the premise a lot. Like, the premise was amazing. I absolutely loved it. What I didn't love was how they sort of worked with it and how they ended it in, like, I don't know. I mean, I like things that are not necessarily neatly completed, but to have some sort of, like, to make me trust the creators that they know what they're doing, if you know what I mean. And it didn't give me that sense towards, like, after the middle point. After the middle point, it felt like it didn't know how to complete, how to bring it, how to touch down, in a sense. So yeah, but the first half, stellar. I absolutely loved it. The second half, not so much. And I think that was why, because they made the impression, but then they didn't deliver like a payoff, in a sense.
So It Follows, is that the STD parable?
Yeah.
Right. So you sleep with someone, you contract this ghost that's going to kill you, and you have to have sex with someone else before it gets you, and it'll get them instead, and then they have to avoid that by sex with someone else, and it just goes on.
Yeah. When you just say it out loud like that, it sounds silly, but it's a good movie.
No, it doesn't sound silly. It would be such an amazing analysis of personalities and how people and it had some of that. It had some of that, but it didn't. I don't know. I mean, for me, it left things unhandled, not unanswered, just unhandled. So.
Yeah, like how they decide to try and solve the problem. It's a little bit like, why are how do these characters have a concept that these are the rules and this is the way to defeat it at the pool or whatever they're doing? It did get confusing in the second half.
Yeah, the final plan. I could kind of forgive it for that, because part of me is like, oh, teenagers, they're guessing, and no spoilers, but like, it doesn't work in the end.
That actually, yeah, exactly.
So I can kind of forgive it for that. And it does feel kind of unfinished, but I guess I'm not real big on an ending making or breaking a movie in some respects, I guess. Like in this, it's like that's kind of the reality that these characters have to live with, and given the parable, like, or the association, like, that kind of makes sense, and they just have to learn how to live with it in their own way together. So I don't get real mad at that, but I also have to remember I'm pretty lackluster when it comes to endings. Like, I mean, in terms of really valuing it. Like, I love Junji Ito's stuff. That dude does not know how to end stories. But I don't blame him, because, like, why do you want to shoot your own horror that you've set up in the foot and be like, and then this is how it was dissolved, and then it was fine, or whatever. Like, he just wants it, like, that's the reality that they end up in, and that's it. And then, like, you could tell, like the horror will reach its climax, then you'll turn the page, and it'll be like some overview of all the bad things, and he'll end it with like, And then it was that way always, and nobody was happy. You're like,
Exactly.
a bit more artistically, and it's like, damn, he does not know how to end a story, but still, I love his fucking stories.
I mean, I would take that over like trying to explain everything and resolve it in the end, even though I do like that sometimes, like with his stuff and with a lot of horror, it's kind of scary and more.
I don't know. I mean, I may have missed some stuff. I would prefer that they don't explain everything and they do something and they resolve something, not necessarily completely resolve. That's they reach like a sort of impasse or a respite or whatever, and nothing is really explained. They just know that something they have bought some time, and that's all there is to it. And I would prefer to end that way. Yeah, you don't need to explain everything in that way.
No, it's often better if you don't completely explain stuff in horror. It's better if you sort of you have it hinted at. It's just show but not tell, that kind of stuff, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. It only really works to explain stuff that adds to the horror.
Exactly.
Other than because that's part of what horror is. Something's unknown about a situation. There's some part that lets you fear it. And if you explain a situation to a point where you can understand that fear, then that gives you a way to overcome that scary thing. So, and that's why I like that Junji Ito doesn't bother to do that. He just can't.
Yeah.
He's just like, there's a hole in the mountain and you're all aliens, but you didn't know it.
Yeah. I love the way that he does everything in a horror sort of lens. I'm really trying to find that book where he just draws his cuts and his slice of life.
Oh, I have it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find it in its original version, and not the abbreviated or just samples that I have found over here. But yeah, because it's a horror thing without anything horrific, and it's delicious. I love it. So
apparently his wife was mad at him for that, because the way he draws her in it, she always looks really scary. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah, I couldn't see why she didn't like it, but I low-key love it, or I just love it, I think.
My goodness me. So did anyone watch anything that wasn't horror? I saw Glass Onion the other day.
What
was that?
Glass Onion.
Oh,
that's a part of the Knives Out.
Is it any good?
Series. Yeah, it's a good, fun film.
Okay, good.
Fun thriller, kind of whodunit, if you like that, with Daniel Craig speaking like Foghorn Leghorn. I'll say. This looks like a murder. It would be worth
it to watch it just for that, I feel.
And Hugh Grant seems to be his boyfriend in this film, which is interesting. It's just hinted at. So there you go. Knives Out, and then the Glass Onion. They're good. Tance, goodbye, Tance. Tance has to go and fill up her cake with chocolate.
She's got a glaze of basil.
Yes, a basil pie. The pie is people. It's not people. It's I have to go glaze it. I have to go do the customs over here. So have a great Christmas Eve, everyone. Have a great
New Year's
Eve. Years, that thing, all of that. I'm gonna
Happy
go.
New Year. Have fun.
Complete cakes, get drunk, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Happy Townsmas. That's the true name of the season, the celebration. Happy Townsmas to one and all. So, I mean, look, okay, so 2022 is finally ended. 2023 is on the horizon. I mean, look, for the people listening to the Quackcast, they're already in 2023, so it's over. What's going to be the big thing? So in 2022, the big things were, okay, so now COVID isn't ended, but everyone believes it's ended. So there's that. Finally over the virus. AI art is the new thing that's threatening our livelihoods, or people are saying it's fantastic and it's democratizing art, whatever. So that's a new bugbear.
Shockingly, crypto has turned out to be very risky.
Crypto,
who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed
that?
Who would have ever thought?
Who would have thought that
NFTs
something that doesn't make sense doesn't make sense?
NFTs have gone out of fashion, so they no longer seem to be the big thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Which is okay. Who saw that coming? Everybody.
Yeah.
It's a new world. We don't know what's going to happen next. It's weird. Elon Musk bought Twitter and messed it up.
Yeah, I had to get off Twitter. It's been good for my mental health. The last month or two, I've really been trying to take stock of what matters to me and focusing more on the things that I want to see and that I want to do. So I'm going to go into 2023 keeping that in mind, and which includes all the stuff I was talking about with inhabitants, but also just kind of taking care of myself. Like, for instance, cutting myself off from Twitter. I really liked being on there, believe it or not. Before then, I had surrounded myself with all sorts of cool artists and stuff, and but between the AI stuff and then Elon getting on there and being all dog whistly and just like, I don't know. And now Trump's back on there. I just don't want to be in the same place. I don't. So, and I've been happier not being on there. So,
this Tate guy that people are making a big thing of.
Andrew
now.
Tate.
Yeah, that's the one. I don't follow any of these because I haven't been on Twitter for years, so I don't know anything.
Yeah. You're better off.
I didn't even know who this Greta Thunberg person was until it was on news reports. But
yeah.
It was just, I mean, I know now. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Lots of people.
Don't follow it. Yeah, people being people.
People being people.
Making news. Every kind of people. Yeah, so there's that. There's Twitter, Mastodon becoming a new thing, whatever that is. That's a Drunkduck's on Mastodon. We've got an official thing.
I just think of the band all the time. Whenever anybody says Mastodon. Like, oh, they're doing stuff?
Yeah, they started a whole new chat thing. They're incredible. Multi-talented Renaissance band. Very, very heavy. Yes, that was a new thing. What else? I don't know. New things. Just the Twitter stuff. Trump. Oh, Joe Biden that was his first year as president of the United States.
No, he got elected in 2020.
Did he? I thought like this year was the year when he really sort of.
No.
Yeah, sure.
No, so
you're right.
But I understand the confusion though, because the timeline, like he was elected in 2020 and then he was sworn in 2021, unless I'm thinking about that incorrectly.
Right.
I always get it weird because one happens one year and one happens the next year in January.
Yeah, it's like a year of campaigning, and debates and all that, and then there's the election. The
Yeah.
winner's declared at the end of one year, and the term begins at the beginning of the following
So
year.
he's had 2 years in power so far?
Yeah.
I think.
So he started his term in 2021.
Yeah.
And 2022 was the second year that he was...
I believe so.
Right, because those 2 years blend into one. 2022
Yeah,
and 2021
because
are the
we're
same.
about to be on the second anniversary of January 6th, I think. Which is when all that shit happened at the Capitol. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'd say the biggest thing about his tenure as presidency is just it's nothing weird has happened. This has been normal. It's been boring the way presidencies should happen. You know? There's no big tragedy or anything. It's just...
Yeah, it's kind of the same old song and dance with you want more shit to get done. Like the student loan thing that was going to go through, it's being tied down now with like like lawsuits and stuff. And like everything else, everything is just so divided that nothing else can get done. But yeah, I mean, he's not saying that a giant multinational pandemic is a Democratic hoax, or a Republican hoax. So we have that going for us. Low bar,
kind of
but anyway,
threatening to start war with, like North Korea or China or whatever, like the previous guy was. We were kind of on a knife edge in that presidency.
Oh yeah.
I felt. Like
Oh yeah.
It was weird
Then
when
you're not alone.
Trump was in. When Trump was in power, it was like, this is the 1980s, is it? What the hell? This is what I felt when Reagan was in power. We're just teetering, and we can fall over that way or fall over this way. This is bad.
Yeah.
And that
a
was
lot of
what it was
big
like
words and
living
dick
in the
slapping
80s.
around.
Yeah. And now it's okay, we're back to the future again.
Well, hopefully. We'll see. There's a lot of things here that need work and a lot of progress that needs to be done despite whoever's in office. But we don't have to get into it's not Deidre's political views hour, so
tune in.
You have to go to your Patreon
Politics
for
with
that.
Deidre. Politics with
I've been surprisingly tame on Patreon. I think maybe I have it. I thought I was. Maybe I shouldn't be.
Yes. Join all our patrons and OnlyFans to see the real us.
2023 OnlyFans for everybody.
I'm a member of Baines's and it's incredible. I highly recommend it to everyone.
Yeah, you see a lot of pictures of puppies and.
I didn't know you could do that with fursuits. That's just wow. The orange is just everywhere. The carpet matches the drapes. Okay, that's all I'm getting.
I'm just imagining the part from The Shining instantly.
Yeah.
Do you get paid much for that, Baines?
These images may be disturbing. Oh, the fines I get more than.
Who's the opposite?
Yeah.
You are paid.
Very expensive, actually.
Oh dear. I know it didn't come out last year. I think it came out the year before. But Dr. Sleep. Did any of you guys see that? The sequel to The Shining.
I did not.
It was good.
Oh. You thought it was good?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. You?
I felt it was a bit rambling. It just went. I mean, I like the callbacks to the classic film, but it was just going, okay, now we're over here. Now we're over here. Now we have to do this bit. We have to do that. And I thought, this is like 3 different episodes of something mixed together. It's like watching a TV series rather than a film.
Kind of,
because it had very episodic things.
It was. Yeah, you have the vampires, and you have Tommy and what he's dealing with, adult Tommy. And then you have the return to the hotel. You have the little girl stalked by the vampires. Yeah, you have. It's It is. It's like 3 stories. Yeah, it is kind of episodic.
Tell and the vampire lady and sorry, Bones, I talked over you.
Yeah. No, I agree with you though. Yeah, it's episodic. And not something I'd want to revisit every month or something like that. But it was pretty good. I thought Ewan was an excellent grown-up Tommy and
McGregor. Yeah. Because of the episodic nature, it didn't feel like it had an overall tight movie structure. Like. Something that, okay, so this is like a movie. Like we had it, like I say, just a bunch of episodes joined together. So they each had their little arcs and things rather than being a whole. It's hard to explain, but you know how you have a journey and we have a third act, second act, fourth act sort of thing from that. It's sort of, okay, now we have these acts all within this and then we have this and then we have that. So.
Right.
I don't know. For me, it wasn't my thing, but I don't know.
Your mention of callbacks to things reminded me that I saw the last Jurassic World movie that came out.
All right. Yeah.
But we don't have to talk about that. I think it's unanimously agreed across the board.
It's funny because for me, there's only one Jurassic Park film, which was the first one. There's only 2 Terminator films. The first one, the second one.
Yeah.
I don't know why people think there are more. It's weird.
They've made so many Jurassic Park movies, and I haven't seen most of them. I don't think, anyway. I don't know how many I missed.
There's like... I mean, if you count them all as Jurassic Park movies, there's 6, but there's 3 Jurassic Park movies, and then there's 3 Jurassic World movies, which I think are Jurassic World because it's like kind of a different story taking over, because I think they couldn't get all the rights to like the Jurassic Park name and stuff, I think.
Oh, wow, really?
I think so. I might be wrong, but that's what I was led to believe.
That Chris guy in them. He's the
Chris
new
Pratt?
star.
Chris Pratt, yeah. Okay, well, I've seen most of them then. I saw the 3 Jurassic Parks, and I saw the first one with Chris Pratt. I enjoyed it. But, yeah, I heard the other 2 were not that well.
Do you know what I saw? Speaking of Jurassic Park, but also Star Wars, I saw a film called Slipstream, and that has one of the main actors of Star Wars in it, Mark Hamill, playing a bad guy. And he's good as a bad guy. And it had the guy from the first Jurassic Park film. You know, the guy who says, "Clever girl."
Oh, yeah. The hunter guy. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, he was one of the best parts. Him and Michael Knight were the best parts of Jurassic Park. And everyone else should have died except for those 2 characters. And the fact that they did die is terrible because I love both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, this film, Slipstream, which was a late 80s film. It was meant to be a sci-fi film. It was done by one of the same guys who was behind Star Wars. That's why you got Mark Hamill. And it had this excellent aeroplane in it, the Edgeley Optica, I think, which is this amazing aeroplane. You don't see it in any other film. It's like it's got an eyeball at the front, turbofan at the back. It's bizarre. It looks very sci-fi. And Mark Hamill playing a bad guy with a beard. It's cool, but the movie itself is boring as shit. Oh, Bill Paxton's in it as well. So you've got a Terminator, someone from Terminator, someone from Star Wars, and someone from Jurassic Park, which is incredible. But yeah, it's a terrible film. So I don't recommend it. But I wanted to watch it because back in the 80s, so this film flopped. It wasn't able to be shown on a lot of cinemas in the United States or anywhere else. So they had to advertise it really big on videos. So for a long time, you'd see this in the trailers of videos. You guys probably don't remember it, but yeah, it was Slipstream. It's a person from the future wanting to reconnect, and they're all just travelers on the slipstream or something like that. It was really mysterious, and I really wanted to see it for years and was never able to find it anywhere. But everyone is able to find it for free now on, if you know this app called Tubi, which is one of these. Yeah, so it's for free on Tubi, so anyone can watch it there.
Tubi's great.
It is, yeah. Movies for 2023.
Yes.
I saw the Frogtown movie on that one too this year as well. Hell Comes to Frogtown, which is basically Putrid Meat, the movie version.
Is it? Fun.
It is. It's Roddy Piper is Bones. It's just everything is there.
So I should be getting royalties now?
Retroactive royalties. Yeah. So this is a film, Pitt, you've never seen, but it is just, it's your world.
Nice. I did see another movie that came out in 2022. I'm pretty sure, The Greasy Strangler. She just kind of reminded me of that.
I heard about that one. That's freaky. You don't want to see it. It's so freaky.
It's uncomfortable, but it's meaning to be. It's like the obnoxious kid in class that like sticks boogers in your hair all day or something like that. It's a bizarre entity, but I'm happy I saw it, but I don't know if I'll see it again. And I think with the right company, I would. Maybe.
So, are you the Greasy Strangler?
It's funny too. Like there's some stuff that made me ha ha. There's not words for it, I don't think.
When I didn't see it, I heard a very long, like a full-length kind of description and takedown of this on a podcast, and I thought, well, this is Baines and Pitface. They have to watch this together.
Rudy Tooty Disco Cutie!
This is a weird film. I would have been disappointed if you hadn't seen it, so there we go. You fulfilled my expectations of you. Very good. Well, so yeah, it's been a big year and it's over now. So 2023, what plans does this hold? And Pitt, you mentioned with your comics, you're sort of moving up into this new kind of world of pay for play.
We'll see. We'll see if I don't come crawling back to... I just want people to read it in the end, but I also want to be able to make some money, and it'd be cool to make a living off it one day. I'm not stacking any cards on that, but I want to take the money I make off of it and like go to conventions and maybe like print some like little one-offs and stuff and do fun stuff with it like that. So
well, that's what Hyena Hell does with her comics. You know, she went for it and she does it now. Like she puts her comic on Instagram mainly and just bits and pieces of it, but you have to buy the whole thing as a zine, and she publishes it and sells them and sends them out.
I think copies. I saw a print copy of one of her comics in a shop once a while ago. I don't remember which one it was, but yeah, I was like, I know that name. Who is that? I know that person. Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Jesus. Congratulations to Hyena Hell for going for it and putting the work in. Yeah, she does put a lot of work in to do this. Like, there's no AI to do this comic for her.
Appreciate yourselves and know that what you do, even if you don't want to put a monetary value to it, which I understand, but know that it does have value. And if you aren't selling it, do it that way because you truly want to, not because you don't value what you do. Unless it sucks, then yeah, you won't be able to sell it. But I don't know. Stay out of my pool. Buy my comic, nobody else's.
All right. Well, I suppose we should say bye-bye, people, before we go into an hour and a half Quackcast. So.
Yes.
So bye-bye, people. Have a very good new year in your lives of 2023.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.